Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of the Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raf, are these all gold BJJ? All of these cards are gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with you. You can throw it in the wash. Raf, these are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
well, they're really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait.
Do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
They were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. Anyway, go visit our friends at goldbjj.com.
10,000 hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Elevate your BJJ game with inverted gear, where pandas and performance meet. Whether you train in a gi or prefer no gi, we have something for you. Our gear is built to last and designed to perform no flashy extras, just high-quality craftsmanship and minimal design. Plus, pandas. Don't miss our back-to-school sale going on now. Visit www.invertijar.com and roll with confidence panda style.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. We definitely had some joint ventures this week. We're gonna have another joint venture on Sunday at 2:30 Best Coast time. You guys are going to want to be tuned in to not only this channel, but Subversive Official. That is the Subversive BJJ channel. You are going to see yours truly. Actually, yeah, you'll see me for the post-show or the pre-show. And then once the show starts, you probably won't see me at all. But I'm there and I'm working behind the scenes. But we're going to start off with a pre-show, and then we'll kick it into some great jiu-jitsu and combat jiu-jitsu action, and even some team combat jiu-jitsu action. So there's that. All right, let's get straight to it. It is a late night here. Now, normally you see our stuff during the day. Now, you have to be asking yourself, Raf, why would you do this late? And the answer is very simple. Tim's going to be on a flight tomorrow. Kevin is God knows where. But let's find out what's happening with Tim. Tim, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. We're on late tonight because we learned from Floyd, the great Floyd Money Mayweather, hard work and dedication, baby. Let's go. It doesn't matter day or night. We got news and we got to bust it. We got to get in front of the camera and get our shine on. So here we are, man, just like old times.
It is just like old times. And yes, it does get weird doing the show when there's only two of us. But our third companion is out there doing the Lord's work. He might call in. He's kind of important this week. Tim, what exactly is handsome Kevin Sherrill doing right now?
So he's not flying a plane, even though he is a pilot, and he can. He has, but he's not. Apparently, he had a late night bat phone emergency call, and one of his training partners needed a cornerman for the UFC coming up here this weekend, the one and only Cody Durden, and our boy jumped on a plane and got a first-class ticket. So we found out.
Was the weirdest thing you would ever tell this group of individuals. Like, nobody here when we got together a few weeks ago flew first class at all. But this dude made it sure that we know. He was like, yeah, something happened, and I was in first class. And I go, was that relevant to the story?
Not relevant at all either, by the way.
Particularly. No, I don't think so.
No.
But Tim, okay, so he's not here. He's cornering, but he might call in. That's kind of where we left it.
Yeah.
And we kind of wanted to absolve him of his responsibility. So Tim and I are going to press forward. Now, granted, this just goes to show you how crazy the week has been, is that we had it originally planned that we were going to do this on Friday afternoon, and then lo and behold, shit happens. And Tim has a flight, and I'm driving down to San Diego, and I'll be picking him up once I get there. So it's going to be a fun time. It's just, we wanted to make sure to get one quick episode in for those of you, and maybe some of you are going to wake up tomorrow and see these, but I do notice there are a handful of our regulars who have shown up here in the chat, and it says, wow, a late night edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. It is late night. I worked in late night programming, by the way, when I worked for NBC. It also sounds vaguely, I think with the way you put it, it has the emphasis on being Borat-ish. Late night. Are you having a late night here? Yeah. And I do see this from Michael Libby. Nobody's going to make you feel bad about this, sir, but it says, if it's usually this late, I apologize for my outburst. You're okay.
What is his outburst was late night show. Love it. Like, I don't really think that's an outburst, guy. I think that's within the realm of just normal courtesy. That's okay.
Absolutely. And it says, rumor has it he makes up for it with this spa days. Sure. And this one's not even his fault, though he might have lost some new gear, and that might be his fault. TBD on that one. Tim, we should probably get to the board, but is there anything I'm missing before we make that transition?
Shout out real quick to Salt. If you use the discount code Bullpen15 at checkout, you'll save 15%. So don't forget to do that. Other than that, I think we're good to go, man. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
I know some of you guys saw the commercials, but these people pay the bills. So give us a second here. Look at this. There's some gelato water. I'm going down to San Diego. These guys dropped off 10 cases to me, and I have already gone through 3 of them. And I've been gone for a week. So difficult to do. Shout out to our friends over at Gold BJJ, Salt Electrolytes, which you did. Thank you for that, Tim. Using the code Bullpen15 will get you a percentage off. I'm just going to guess it's 15, Tim?
Yes, absolutely. You are correct, sir.
Thank you. We also want to give a shout out to Inverted Gear and Future Kimonos. We will be getting in contact with the winners. We're going to put up a post for that. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for supporting our show. All right, let's get straight to the board. Tim,
let's do it.
A few things to kind of preface here. So it's already at the end. Let's go straight up to the beginning. So it turns out the highly anticipated match between KADE Ruotolo and Mikey Musumeci is actually off. It's very sad. A lot of us got sad panda eyes when we realized that match that we had been so excited and so ready to see, postponed for now, hopefully not canceled altogether. Tim, what was your reaction when you found out that this match had actually been, at the very least for now, canceled for this week?
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed when I found out that KADE had to pull out, apparently due to injury. The big concern, obviously, you don't want Cade to be injured, but selfishly, I was thinking, man, does this mean one is not going to play ball with these other grappling organizations and release their athletes who are signed under contract to go do CJI? Because apparently Cade and Ty had to do some negotiation in order to compete at CJI. And obviously it worked out for Cade. He won $1 million, but now he's hurt and he can't fulfill his obligations to one. And that was a big fight. There was a lot of anticipation on that fight. We've been talking about this fight for months. It was one of those things that was always off in the future. We talked about it as soon as it was announced, and then it's off. And then they found a last minute replacement for Mikey. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the dude's name. I had it pulled up here, but and it's a guy. He's a little bit lighter, and Mikey actually beat this dude a couple years back. This guy has some notable wins. I think he has a win over Junior Ocasio and a handful of guys. He's a good opponent, but it's a little bit of a letdown because everyone wanted to see Cade versus Mikey, and apparently Mikey has now missed weight. He failed the hydration test. One has stripped him of his belt, and so it just didn't work out for him at all. I guess you can't win for losing. Oh, he's going up against Bebeto Oliveira, so he is the replacement for Cade. So yeah, I don't know. I still want to see him. Mikey's great to watch. He's amazing, but I don't know what's going on. It's odd that he missed that hydration.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure exactly what happened, and I'll put it together in a few different ways here, because my initial thought here, Tim, when I saw all of this, was I was just thinking to myself, like, oh no, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose Mikey and Cade. But then lo and behold, it might actually be the case that we have lost the two of them. And that would actually be very detrimental. So I'm hoping they can rebook it, but I don't know how I feel at the moment about that actually taking place. So I am slightly nervous about it.
Yeah, I would think that one would have a backup contingency already in place, and maybe Bebeto is that name. But when you have a big marquee event like that, you got to have another big name to slide in, and you have to think that there's a possibility your superstar gets hurt competing for $1 million.
I would never question anything. Cade is as upstanding as they get. But I did say things change after you win $1 million.
They sure do.
So
yeah,
it is risky for one, but maybe those were injuries that if you really needed that 100 extra K, you might have kind of pushed through. This became potentially, maybe it was a calculation on Cade's behalf where he said, like, it's not worth it. I've already made money. I secured the bag for 2024. We can teach some orphans some jiu-jitsu in a faraway destination in their Costa Rican paradise. That's where they're at, right? Yeah, let's just call it Costa Rica for now.
Yeah.
But the thing that kind of...
It's one of the Ricas.
The thing that threw me is that, yes, Mikey did miss weight, and this is where it's confusing. So people were reporting that he wasn't able to drop 35 pounds in 1 week, and that was because I guess he was going up a weight class to fight Cade, or at least kind of entertaining the fact like he'll just be heavier and conceding that point. And then you would think, okay, if he was sitting around 155, how hard is that to do? But then, as a repercussion of all this, him losing his belt, it just feels, if you're in the Mikey camp and you're one of his fans, like this dude was set up. Like this has all the makings of wait, how did I get stripped of a title that I wasn't even going to defend? Like 3 days ago, this wasn't even a thing. Now all of a sudden I've lost my title. So I am very concerned as to, you mentioned the backup plan. I'm thinking to myself, it's an opportunity cost that, for one, now they might come back to renegotiations and sour some of those deals for other people in the future. But I have to tell you, I've probably never been more interested in 1FC's grapplers than when we did hear who had been in 1FC at the CJI. Like, I think it does come with some pause because it is giving them good press up until this happened.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that allowing those guys to kind of cross train is good for the promotion, but it's just if it hampers your own plans, then it becomes a problem. And one of the things KADE said is that he and his brother are making upwards of $100,000 per match in one already. So, you know, I that's not bad money. But I think you're right. I think things change when you get a big payday. So we'll see what happens. I hope my internet catches up here, man. I went back into the freaking cyber fog.
You did go down a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to blow up my face, which, you know, is what it is. You guys will be doing that. I see it says mic problem. Thanks for that. I think it might actually be, let me just double check here, but I think we should be otherwise okay. It might be a sync issue, not a mic problem. So, from what I see, Tim, say something real quick, and let me just double check here.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on. It might actually be the communication.
Yes, I am here.
Okay. So let's actually go to our second topic while we figure this out. It may just be the communication of that microphone to the Instagram live folks. So if you're watching on there, it might be slightly delayed. So my apologies on that. So you mentioned this in the little thing that we put together, a little rundown sheet. You mentioned that Mikey had an interview with a certain somebody, and that certain somebody is one of the GOATs. What did Mighty Mouse and Mikey talk about that got to be so controversial this week, Tim?
Well, Mikey talks about a lot of things, and I think he leads with his heart. I think that he has good intentions. I don't think he has bad intentions. But one of the things that he had mentioned is that many of the big jiu-jitsu teams are giving their young athletes steroids, and you know that's a big claim. And I don't think it's okay to make those claims if you don't have real hard facts to back those claims up, because it casts a huge negative shadow on many teams and the jiu-jitsu jury on Reddit, they already know who Mikey's talking about. There's already a strong idea of what teams he's talking about. And I don't know if that's a real problem or not. Do athletes take performance enhancing drugs in jiu-jitsu? Yes. I would venture to say probably it's across the board like the other sports. It's probably not a lot more or a lot less. It's probably right on par. And that's a problem to some extent, just like it's a problem in other sports as well. But to say that, you know, teams are giving kids steroids, that's a serious problem. That's like a real serious problem that would need to be addressed. And so he brought this up. I feel like he talks about steroids a lot. A lot of little guys talk about steroids. I don't know if you've noticed this. I've noticed this. They talk about it a lot, like a lot. Almost every time they get a chance to get on the microphone, they mention the fact that people are taking steroids. We get it, man. But at the same time, you know, that's a pretty big shot fired to say that about a kids program or that these big teams are doing that. And I just want to say, like, if you're going to say it, then you got to put some facts out. Don't just cast the shade out there and then walk away. Like, if you're going to say it, then you got to say it. Otherwise, keep your mouth shut, because it's not a cool thing to cast that kind of light on somebody. So
see, you're coming.
I think I'm going to re-add myself, Raf. The delay here is getting wonky.
All good, dude. You go do your thing. I just want to bring this up here because as Tim goes to reset his, I've always been curious as to whenever somebody says out loud, hey, I think that this team is on steroids. and then you don't give any of the information, or you don't make any of the claims, and then all of a sudden it just becomes that dude's on steroids. Then we just kind of circle around it for years. So Tim is speaking from a pure stand-up guy, like do the right thing sort of mentality. I'm speaking from the dirtbag name names. This interview is going to suck unless you name names. If you don't name names, as an interviewer, I get real bored. And you do see a lot of people preview stuff whenever they're doing a show, if you would. And I can't wait to be that famous where I can say the following words, which is, oh, I wish I could talk about it. Maybe one day. But it does become very annoying when you're sitting there and you think to yourself, somebody sneaks in the following conversation in an interview, and I'm sure this has happened to you, Tim, where they're like, oh, I wish I could talk about that. And you go, you can.
Yeah.
You can. Do it. And they're always like, no, I wouldn't want to get in trouble. Well, then why are we doing this? Name names. Tell me the people. Say some shit on the air. Because otherwise, you're thinking from the good person standpoint. I'm thinking from the good host standpoint, which I argue more important. And when they start doing that in interviews, I legitimately start. Are you done? Oh, okay, cool. Just got really bored and fell asleep. Cool. Okay, great. And I mean, listen, it is, I guess, slanderous to say things without credit or claim. If it is true, it's really bad if somebody is not treating kids the way they should be and they are pumping them full of steroids. That's a real legitimate problem if it exists. And if it doesn't exist, the slander that you put, or the libel if you put it in print, it is spectacularly in bad form. So Mikey might be sitting on some real information, nonetheless, none that you can really prove. So there be that. I like that Crazy Love Benzito says, dang, I'm just saying. It makes for terrible interviews, and it always makes you look like a bad interviewer when you can't get them to go on record for saying somebody, but you can put in the public record that it is existing. So it's like a whistleblower who just wants the attention, but not the actuality of the responsibility that comes with being a whistleblower.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. You're 100% right. It's a little bit of a cop out. You know what I mean?
Well, Egghead's letting us know, pretty sure Canseco, McGuire, Clemens, Sosa, Bonds were on the acai.
Yeah, and it was like the best period of baseball ever. My boy Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs for the San Francisco Giants. What an outstanding year that was.
I will tell you this. We are talking about something different here when it's those people. It's not Sammy Sosa Jr. that we're talking about here. You know, and it's always a possibility. I'm just letting you know. I just always think to myself, what are we really doing here with the kids? And it says, I get, no, don't make this real. See, you're trying to come up with the litigation of this. And it says, I get you want to say the kids' names, but you better have provided the info to the local district authority's office. Again, that's where that whole Craig Jones video and making that bet thing got real weird real quick, where you think to yourself, you know, if you have a video like that, you should probably do something with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This doesn't need to be a loser goes to jail stipulation match. You could literally bypass all of that and just be like, hey, this dude did some bad shit if he did it. And that's a hard thing to prove unless maybe they got the goods. But I don't want to go into that. We'll go into our next one, which is this, Tim. I mean, do we have any more on that? Is that the whole thing? Because that was my whole summarization of that topic was.
Yeah, pretty much.
My whole thing was, I like Mikey. I feel he feels passionately about steroids. And I want to say that we're probably on the same side in terms of outrage for it. I just wonder if it harms the cause to be that intense about it, that you make the claims and then maybe people just go like, you know what? Do all the steroids you want. Like, that mentality is very much out there where Gordon is leading that cause of like, I mean, everybody does steroids, so why don't you? And then it becomes more people seem to think like, I don't know if that's so bad. And I feel like that is the weird part of the discourse, is that it almost invites somebody to do it because they're just like, well, everybody talks shit about it. So now I feel like more inclined to do it.
You know, you're right. It's a little bit like reefer madness. You know, like you have this hyperbole that's so out there against it that it automatically causes a pendulum swing to the other side. And if you could just like cut out that part and have an honest discussion about it, I think the kids, the younger kids and the teens are more likely to listen. But when they just hear like the extreme side of it, they just go like, oh, that's all crazy. That's just the adults talking crazy, you know?
Hold on, you're on to something here. So these ventures don't make money, but you know what might make money? A musical. You mentioned Reefer Madness. If I just repurpose that to Steroid Madness.
Oh, there you go.
I think I got something there. Like taking all the extremes of not doing steroids that drove people to do it into mass hysteria. And I think you just basically repurpose it and like, not gonna steroid today. And like, see what you can make of it. And then, you know, really put on that like, you know, Gordon Ryan's not a bad person, but let's change his name. Ryan Gordon. Can't sue me now.
Yeah, this is sounding like a Matt Stone, Trey Parker production.
Absolutely. If I don't have enough projects on my plate, this is definitely one I'm going to put on there. It says, so what happens to the athletes that work really hard and that are not doing it, and then they go against somebody that's doing it?
They
it's
lose.
Kind of wow. Absolutely. It's tough, and it's difficult in our sport where there's no accountability or standards, and that if you do want accountability, it costs money, sure, but I think that's why you see certain people leading the charge to change the culture's perspective of it, or to change the acceptance, and that people just get worn down, or they put an argument that says, well, why wouldn't you? Which is very strange, because if you took most of Gordon Ryan's logic that he normally uses, you could literally just say to him, so you didn't feel strong enough that you could win without steroids. And that would be a Gordon Ryan argument. And yet that doesn't apply to him, because it's like, well, everybody else was doing it. And I mean, they were doing it. Like, it's their fault, not his. It's a weird accountability issue. So I think that's part of the reason why I think it's good to continue discussing it and have the culture conversations with it, because as much as there would be acceptance for it, and maybe that's the way some people want to go, there are definitely repercussions. And I think we will get to a few of those in a little bit. But for right now, you know, short-term glory is incredibly appealing to people in that. Let me say this here real quick. I didn't know that we're at this element or this aspect of producing shows. But Tim, is this a crank call? Because the person asking for this has gone under the insignia or the name coronavirus, which should probably be hint number one.
Yeah.
So what do we make of requests like this? You know what you should do? I think I have supers now turned on. If you guys want to pay the super rates, then maybe we can talk. And what I mean by supers is you give me money and then maybe I play your game here and we do the thing. So
yeah, he's asking a couple of guys that basically cut their teeth watching The Simpsons. You know, it's like, you're not gonna slip that one in.
I want to be like, listen, I'll be very clear. You can take that shit that I do and use it if you pay the super price. It's not hard. You pay the money. It's a nice $10 feature. I'll say your dumb Mo Sislak line should you need it. Let's go to our next topic here, Tim, which is this. You put up something that was interesting to me, and let's go back one. And it says, I'll give you $20 to say it. Ooh.
Well, you better
wet
the beak of that Venmo then. Let's go. When we hear the ding ding.
When I see it come over, pop up on the side, we will talk about it. But good Lord. Gotta love that one. Hey, Egghead, thank you for sticking around. We appreciate it. It says, got to get up early and drive to LAX to fly out to see the man-child's football game. Does he know you're going on internet television and referring to him as a man-child?
The man-child.
It says, bummed I won't see y'all, but only 2 seasons left of man-child football, by the way, is worse. I decided
Is that like English football? Does he mean Manchester? He's a man-child football. My son plays for Man-child Football Club.
I have to say, you know what ends up happening in my brain? My brain does autocorrect as it reads sometimes.
Yeah.
And then as it happens, I go, wait, oh, man, it says, psych, LOL. Good night, guys. Wow, you almost got us, dude.
He LOL'd at his own failed troll. LOL at myself. Courtesy laugh to me. Back to Reddit.
Peace out, coronavirus. You won't get as old as the reference. We will go to our next topic, which was this. You put this one down here, and I think it's worth mentioning. We got to go back, and that is this. CREWRANK. So it would appear that there was some altercations that happened on the streets. Tim, the streets are your neck of the woods. So I would like for you to tell us what exactly happened and why are we suddenly seeing a Diaz brother involved yet again, sir?
Apparently there was a nightclub incident. The video is out there. I thought about using that for the fight video, but it wasn't as funny as we would like it to be. Apparently, I'm not sure how the conversation went. I'm really curious to know what words were exchanged, but the bouncer at the nightclub, and this guy doesn't look particularly large, like your stereotypical big giant bouncer dude. This more looks like a doorman kind of guy. Got into some kind of skerfuffle with Nate Diaz, which is just like, out of all the snakes in the jungle, why would you go messing with that particular one? You know, it's got the warning signs all over it. And this dude looked like he threw some hands at Nate, to be honest. He must have been feeling himself. And it got hushed down pretty quick. Nate's crew was actually very much into the what the hell are you doing? Chill out. So I don't know exactly what the specifics are, but it got me thinking about crews. Like there's these MMA and these wrestling and grappling crews, but like, which ones would you want to be with you in a real street fight? Because these melees break out from time to time. And the Diaz brothers, they're perennial all-stars. They're always on the list. They've been public fighting is like a public team for over a decade now. You know, they've revolutionized the water bottle throwing technique, throwing shoes, fighting with people in the back of the auditorium that you can't even see. They're masters at it. But who else is out there? We know that Jorge Masvidal's got a crew. You know, they're more into like the sneak attack style thing. So I was hoping we get some feedback on that, and it got me thinking, Raf, and I think I have the crew. I do. Okay. I was thinking this is the crew that I want. I want Chuck Liddell and and John Hackleman, and I'll tell you why. I've thought about it. You need someone who could fight on a dance floor, and I think Chuck Liddell's that guy.
Okay,
he can punch going backwards. He can punch under the influence of Zions energy drinks. He can fist bump and go Wonder Twin with John Hackleman, you know, and they could take the place out. They got Tito Ortiz, what was for a time part of the pit crew. You could have him running through with the half Mexican, half American flag back and forth, like your flag bearer through the battle of the nightclub. I think that's the crew you want. I think Chuck could basically take out 20 dudes. Hackleman can run interference, and Tito can basically just cut back and forth, streaking through the crowd, man. Yeah.
That's a solid idea. So I looked at your prompt, and it got me thinking as well, because I was like, well, that's pretty good. But if I'm going to put a group together, because I didn't know that was it. I thought it was actually family, so it was taking me longer. And instead, I came up with the people I wouldn't want on my team, like what families I wouldn't want. And I was like, definitely not the Tates, definitely not the Pauls, because they're not getting into it. They're getting their people involved. The Tates are probably going to abduct the smallest girl that's there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could happen. But then once you put the like assemble your crew thing, I thought, oh, there's a way to do this. So first, I'm actually going to start with Kurt Angle, actual gold medalist, excellent wrestler, one of the most entertaining showmen of all time. And that might make you think to yourself, oh man, I don't know if I want to include this dude who did pro wrestling in this melee. One, won a medal, a gold one, broken freaking neck. Number two, have you seen Perk Angle? Perk Angle is perhaps the John Wick of this generation. When that dude was on Percocets, all of us looked and thought, this doesn't look good. I think that this guy's probably on some perks, but I don't think I want to say it out loud. And when all of us saw him jump off of the Jumbotron area and do a somersault onto Abyss, and then he just landed, said, yeah, and everybody goes, oh, that dude's not okay in the head right now. So Perk Angle is on my list. Number two, you need a pawn, so make it Sean Strickland. Now, I'm not saying he's going to beat the shit out of anybody. He might, I mean, if these are civilians. But I feel like what you do is you send him out there, and it's really not even his fighting that's going to get people to really just give up. It's going to be him giving you a hot take that he would have done in his car. It's like, nah. You know, the thing about, like, gays, they do this. And everybody's like, God, I don't want to talk to this dude anymore. So then they run off and they do that. Now, this is where things get weird, because the third member here, I feel like you need a good anchor for a team. And originally I was going to say like an Anderson Silva, a good throwback, but even he's going to be like, oh, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. You robbed me. It's fine. And it could be GSP, but GSP is too much of a good human being. He'd probably help you load the truck if you were robbing him. Nah, I think you need somebody like a Fedor. You get Fedor in there because you either get like old contract killer Fedor, or you get this dude that's looking at you like, why you rob me? Don't rob me. Fedor give you a hug. You go, no, Fedor, no. But that's why he's the GOAT. So
Yeah.
you got to give him that. And then if you are trying to infiltrate a prison, that's when you get John Jones because he has experience. So I feel like that's how you connect some of those great crime fighting families in the world. When you mentioned super like crew rank, I legitimately spent time thinking of families, and it made me think. I was like, am I putting the Millers on here? Am I putting the Florians on here? Like, how am I doing this? So I misread
the
that
Florian.
entirely.
It's Kenny and Keith.
Absolutely.
Come on, Kenny. Kenny does the fighting and Keith does the screaming from the side.
And then I thought, like, oh, if we're including twins, is it the Anik brother? So that it's a decoy John Anik that's telling you about what's coming up next. So I definitely put some thought into it. It got a little weird, but we press on.
Oh, that was good.
You had a great thing here, speaking of pro wrestling, and I wasn't expecting this to be put on the list, but Psycho Sid unfortunately passed away recently, and you put up this great prompt. He was one of the most entertaining heels in the 90s. He was always involved in the title hunt, and I have to tell you this, Tim. My perspective on Sid. I hated him so much as a kid. Like, it bugged me that he would beat up even Shawn Michaels, who was not my guy. Bret Hart was my guy. But when he would show up and just powerbomb somebody, it was a good powerbomb, by the way. But when he would show up and just do that, I would be like, this dude's stressing me out, and I hate this guy. And as you grow up, you realize, oh, no, that meant he was very good at his job. That I got so invested as a kid that I was like, fuck this dude. Don't come to the ring. You weren't invited out here, sir. You need to go back there. And then you would think to yourself, you're like, I bet he's a dick back there. Nah, not the case. Actually, it was very well received, very popular back there. So there is that. But yes, I was very, it was something to hear that. And I was very entertained to see him be in the WWE for so long. And I did get this note from Jit's mom, so my apologies from this. It would appear that you guys only hear me on the broadcast, and that may be something that I am able to fix here in a second. But Tim, why did you put down giving a little bit of the shout out to somebody who is, you know, this much of an old school pro, like somebody who is beloved in the community?
Well, you know, I have a big heart for pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling. I've always been a big pro wrestling fan. I think that pro wrestling has a direct relationship to mixed martial arts and grappling in general. In Japan, it's pretty well respected and known. It's not like anything for their guys to go back and forth. And we're starting to see that in the United States a lot more. But for a long time, it was kind of like wrestling was the side of the family that quit going to the family church, you know? And so the rest of the family didn't talk to the pro wrestling side, like as if it wasn't, you know, connected in any way. But we're kind of past that a lot now, I hope. So I got a lot of respect for those guys. And as entertainers, they're amazing. And there's a lot that we can learn from them trying to sell professional jujitsu. And I think we have to hold them in that regard instead of putting it down like they're just a bunch of morons and it's all fake fighting and all that stuff. You have to see the promotional theatrical value of what they're doing. And Sid was one of the best. And his finishing move is a devastating finishing move, which is the power bomb, which is a move that does show up in mixed martial arts and in jiu-jitsu. It showed up several times. We have seen Fedor get power bombed by Kevin Randleman, and we're talking power bombed. We saw who was it, Takada, who tried to power bomb Hickson, and Hickson Gracied out of the power bomb, which is one of the mythical like crouching tiger, hidden dragon things that he pulled off, and we're like, oh shit, he is mystical. Like what?
I think that did happen. But then of course, I think you're obviously going to give respect to one Rampage Jackson.
Absolutely. Massive power bomb. We also have Gio Martinez with the power bomb on Jeff Glover at the ADCC trials. Massive power bomb. And then we have the now infamous Orlando Sanchez Tex Johnson power bomb incident. So yeah, it definitely shows up, and it's a move that works. Like if you could pick somebody up, how are you going to get out of it? Once you're in the air, you're in the air, dog. And unless your last name is Gracie, you're not snapping out of it. Hickson can get out of it, but you know, Hickson by armbar.
Have you yourself power bombed somebody?
I have power bombed my kids when they were little. I've given them both lots of power bombs onto the bed. Never quite had the back strength to power bomb an adult human being against their will, but it seems like a worthy pursuit at some point in your life to say I have power bombed another man.
That is fair. When I was a teenager and probably lifted a lot more from soccer and football, I could, not a ton, but a good amount of people. And I would hit, my thing was more the razor's edge. So I would hit that on some folks, but I was like that middle-sized person. So I had to be very specific on like, no, it's gotta be like these 4 people. It can't be heavier than that guy.
Now was razor's edge where Razor Ramon would get his arms outstretched and kind of like hold them up,
power bomb them,
yeah,
off to the edge like that. I appreciate that one a little bit more because I think it just had a little more showmanship. But again, Diesel or Kevin Nash doing a power bomb. You see Sid doing a power bomb. I always thought that Sid's, when I watched it as a kid, you know, you think to yourself, oh, they landed like this. They did a pratfall kind of landing here. I would see Sid's power bomb. I'm like, there's no way of faking that. Like that looks like it's just not fun. That's a bump. As much as that bump is in existence, it does not look like it is fun to see. So there is that. I would tell you this. Yes, you are correct in that. Yes, you are very appropriately giving props to him. It is unfortunate, but it does say this, and I don't know what Sid's situation is, so I don't want to mix all the messages here. But we were talking a little bit earlier about the element of what steroids have as an effect on people. And if not Sid, definitely a number of pro wrestlers have had complications with steroids after using them, where some of our really big heroes growing up have short lives when you really put it into perspective. So maybe some people want to burn that candle very quickly, but it is something that is not mentioned when we say, oh, it's okay if you use steroids, and you do it because you got to be competitive. So I think that's part of the responsibility of doing these things. So by all accounts, Sid had a very good career and definitely did better than I ever thought he would as a person. But he was somebody who, I think RVD once told a story where Sid showed up in jeans, shirt off, puts an elbow pad on, goes to perform, finishes performing, takes the elbow sleeve off, and then left. Like, they were like, dude, that's the life. That dude showed up in costume, did his thing, and then said, my time is done, punched the clock out. So I definitely like that story.
That's like the guy who shows up in the gi with his belt tied. He gets out of the car, does class, goes straight back to the car with that dirty ass gi, gets on his cloth Toyota Corolla seats, drives home.
So I wanted to point this out because I don't know how long somebody is going to be in here, but I'm not sure if somebody saw this in the comment section, and we're going to put up a post with all these, so it'll definitely be seen. But at the very end of our show for our ADCC week, you may recall that there was a raffle, and I'm not sure if somebody in our viewing got to see this, but for the plus 80 CJI portion of our drawing, maybe that name might kind of jog the memory. So just in case anybody might be there, no big deal. Just wanted to take a moment, give a shout out. Details will follow and come, and we will put up a post for everybody. I do realize it is a very blurry, but yes, in case now I'm looking at it on the Instagram for whatever reason, it's incredibly blurry there. But yes, a Doreen McLean did win one of our prizes, the #1 fan. Oh my goodness, absolutely the #1 fan. So super stoked about that. I will have more details in the near future, but we're going to press on to the very next topic, which is this. And again, RIP Psycho Sid. Never give that man scissors, though. All right. I think that you put this prompt up with the possibility that somebody might be here. And we are alarmingly short on that person. So with the shot clock, I'm going to put up something here to see if we can get him within that time. So the shot clock isn't, hey, here are our thoughts. The real essence of this shot clock is, will he show up in time? I'm letting him know 3 minutes of your 3:05 remaining. And we'll see if Kevin will show up. Because here's the thing. Kevin is being a good coach. He is being an incredible person and going to coach on short notice. That does mean he's not able to be here when we are doing the show, even though he wanted to be here. So we are seeing if this is something that we are able to pull off, because the unfortunate aspect of this is he is helping with a weight cut, and we don't want to take away from somebody needing that who does fight for the UFC. So there is that. But I guess I should ask you this question here, Tim. What does a grappling coach do in a UFC fight?
You know, it's interesting. I've never cornered anyone in the UFC. I've cornered a few guys in MMA fights, and as the grappling coach, I just give grappling advice. Obviously, most guys that are grappling and cornering fighters know something about fighting. If they haven't fought themselves, they're pretty actively engulfed in it. So there's lots of good advice that could come out of it. But you know, I was really interested in in the UFC and that experience when you go in there and you're the grappling coach. does the fighter tell you, does he give you a role and say, look, this is the kind of information that I want from you? Or does the head coach go, look, I'm going to talk for 45 seconds and then you get 8 seconds or whatever. I don't know. But it seems like the corners that are organized, they function a lot better. The fighter gets clear instructions. Fighting's really chaotic already. And that 1 minute break they have it's like a respite from madness, but they know that they got 5 more minutes of madness waiting ahead of them. And to be able to clearly like give them feedback that's useful, that they could digest and then turn around and implement, that's a very difficult skill to master. And if you got 3 cornermen, and sometimes you see thirsty cornermen, you see these guys that are like, they're just waiting for the other dude to shut up so they could say what, oh, this is what you all kick his ass, dude. Like, you know, they got to like say their bit. That's not good. You know, that's not helpful to a fighter. So I was really interested in what Kevin's perspective would be, or if he had a specific role. I would think that would be the role.
I do have some good news for you. We were able to locate Kevin Sherrill. He made it in time. So here, reporting live, a little sweaty it would appear. Kevin Sherrill.
Look at
Kevin,
this
how are you
guy.
doing, sir?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Are you guys getting the audio?
We are getting the
Yeah,
audio.
we got
Are you
you.
getting us, sir?
Perfect. Yeah, I've got y'all. Yeah, we just got back from Cody Durden's weight cut. I'm literally still wet from the shower. So we just got back. Cody's on weight. Dude,
Nice.
Cade pulling out is a bummer. Oh my god.
That's not even the topic. Hold on. I had to switch the boards. Yes, that's a huge. I like the idea of making you do it all in 3 minutes to catch up to where we are.
A whole board.
So, you know, this question was actually made specific to you. That's why I texted, because I was like, oh, if there's anybody here who can answer this question, it's not me, it's not Tim, it's you. So I should ask this. What happens when you are a coach for somebody who fights in the UFC? What does that entail, sir?
Honestly, it's a lot of, I'd say in MMA in general, it's a ton of like knowing your role, playing your position. I think a lot of grappling coaches don't really adapt well, and wrestling coaches and striking coaches don't really adapt well to the corner, because you have to work with the other experts in the corner and you have to work with the expert in the cage. It's really tricky to work with like elite athletes that you know are masters of their craft and like are going to be better than you at some things. A few years ago, Steve Kerr got coach of the year. He was coaching the Golden State Warriors on a loaded super team. And he got coach of the year, and people were very upset about that. They were like, man, anybody can coach that team. These guys are all great at basketball. And that very much so misses the point. There was I think it was Charles Barkley, but it might have been Shaq, it might have been Kenny, who said these people don't really understand the role of a professional coach when you're coaching world-class athletes. Your job is not to develop them necessarily. Your job is to help them continue to do what they already do at the highest level, to continue to develop themselves. They got here because of who they are. They've earned the confidence. They've earned the expertise. Your job is being the guy on the sidelines who has an outside perspective, and to clear their path, man. Like, carry their books to school, like bring them water, whatever.
To
Sometimes
school.
you gotta, yeah. Sometimes you gotta listen, do the grunt work, do this stuff, bring them a coffee. Sometimes you gotta like get in their ear and be like, "Hey, man, you're being a bitch right now. You need to nut up." But for the most part, what you're doing is just making this guy's life easier, and yeah, making his life easier and removing all the bullshit obstacles from the path. I mean, Cody's cutting weight and we're just tucking the towels in on the sides so that it's warm. He's like, hey man, can you wipe my, I don't want to get sweat in my eyes. Can you wipe that stuff off? Like, that's the glamorous job of a grappling coach in the UFC. If you guys ever, you know, you guys ever want to try it out, just wipe his brow a little bit, give him a Jolly Rancher every now and then. Grappling coach.
It's solid stuff there. I would tell you, I don't think that what you were quoting came from Shaq, because there were too many adverbs there. So I'm inclined to think that's not necessarily from him. You know, I do find it fascinating, because whenever people say like, hey, will you corner me? Normally you have some heads up. Your heads up time was almost non-existent When did you get the call, and how did it come together this quickly?
Yeah, Cody accepted the fight Tuesday midday and was like, I'm going out there without a corner. He posted that tweet, I'm going out there without a corner, just me and my wife, fuck it, we ball, or something like that. And I'm not on social media right now super much. I'm trying to stay off it, just get on there to post and do the professional thing, and then just ignore all my DMs and go home. And Reese, Baby Goose, saw Cody was going out there without a corner, called the front desk at Lima while I was coaching. The front desk came up to me and said, hey, bro, Jason at the front desk goes, hey, man, Reese just called. He said to pick up your phone. And I grabbed my phone, checked the text, and went, oh, shit. Everything in there. He was like, hey, man, Cody doesn't have a corner. The other guys at ATT Lima can't go out. They got families. Douglas Lima is fighting for Bellator this weekend. They all have other obligations. Here's Cody's contact info. Hit him up. I hit up Cody. He said, you can come out? Sick. I'll talk to my team. They bought me flights for the very next morning. I went home, got home at 11, packed my bags, left my house at 5 a.m., went straight to the UFC Performance Institute to meet Cody, and we just got to work. I was doing tape study on the way. It was wild.
I found it so fascinating that when you told us he was going to, you were going to corner him, I looked at that tweet and I thought, there's different ways we can say that Kevin is involved in things, but I'm like, I've definitely said some jokes about Kevin, but none that was like, I'm not having any coaches. I'm just going out there and doing it. And I'm like,
just me, nobody else. Like, he's gonna crop the photo after the photo with our arms around him. It's me and Carl Williams in the corner, and he's just gonna crop the photo to just him. Like,
Yeah.
It is.
He's gonna crop your finger out of the picture when you're wiping the sweat off of his brow.
I'm gonna be handing him the coffee, and you're just gonna see my hand, like a water Cody.
Those are handsome hands.
There's also a very important question here to get an answer to, but did you find your missing items, sir?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, for those of y'all that don't know, I got a brand new iPad for my time on the show to have a little better hardware to deal with. Brought it with me to do tape study, tucked it in a little side cubby, went to sleep, woke up, rushed off the plane to go meet Cody, and was like, I got to the spot, pulled out my tablet to show him some stuff for the tape study, and went, oh, I know exactly where it is.
Dang.
Hopefully Delta will get it back to me, man.
Listen, so you haven't heard anything back, you don't know anything, it's just
I filed a claim and they have not got back to me. I put in, I'm like, this was my seat, this was my flight, this is the serial number, this is everything.
Well, you might find it.
We'll see. I think what's saving me is Cody's sponsors flew me first class. So I think if I was like one of the peasant folk, they might not put much effort into it. They're like, oh, first class. Mr. Sherrill, of course we'll get that iPad for him.
Do you understand
Mr. Sherrill,
the flex you hit when you said, I flew first class, when I knew this man did not fly first class a couple weeks ago when I was in charge? So I had a moment where I said, he deserves this one. And then you lost your iPad, and I go, well, he doesn't deserve that. That seems unfair.
I'm not accustomed to the lifestyle. They've got like little cubby holes and stuff that I was unaware of. It got lost in all the leg room.
The nooks and crannies of first class befuddled me.
Yeah,
I handed it to the butler that would take me, and he still is holding that iPad to this day.
I want to point this out. There's nothing funnier to me than you're the maybe most recent case of somebody having a butler bring up a phone message to them in this day and age. Like, no one gets that service anymore like you did when somebody goes, sir, there's a call for you up front. This was you being like, sir, they request your coaching. Please answer your phone. And you're like, wait, who is this? Oh, would you like me to come coach? Oh, I would do that. Why, thank you, sir. Like, it would sound like the fakest call in the world to me on the other end
My
of this.
services are required as I answer the phone with my pinky out.
UFC, you say? I'll
You're
check
holding the
my
phone upside
schedule.
down.
Well, Kevin, let's figure this out. How long do we have you? Are you done now? Do we need to send you back into the ether? Because I did make a bet here on the show that we could get you on in the 3 minutes and 5 seconds we normally give people to respond, and you did make it. So, like, now I'm not angry, and that makes me very happy. So do we have to rush you back, or do you have a second?
Yeah, I gotta go back.
Get
I
outta
stopped
here.
by I stopped by Baby Goose's spot to grab some stuff, and then we gotta go back to the hotel, do a little more. Cody's weight's good. He's on
Okay.
weight, but we got some recovery stuff. We got to set him up for. They got early morning weigh-ins, and all our ducks got to be in a row for his recovery.
Let me point this out to you. If anything goes wrong, it's not his fault. I don't know any of those other people. I know you.
Yeah,
Do
coach.
not fuck this up, coach.
When he knocks this guy out, I'm gonna say I taught him that. I was like, yeah, that's the combo I called for, bro. That was me. Y'all
This
didn't
man
know?
is not going to sit there and say, like, you know what, that was the right call to pull guard here, Kev. You're right.
What if he heel hooks him? Oh my god.
You need to film yourself just calling out like every possible combination, and then you could just like replay it and be like, "Look, I was just documenting right here." Yeah,
bro. I have my UFC kit already, so I'm just gonna go put in a black backdrop, little green screen, and just every call I could make.
It was a wrong choice to give you that fight kit because it's going to end up in so many TikTok videos in the near future. Kevin,
all I'm coaching in for the next week.
Oh my god, Kev. So here's the last question I have for you. Are we seeing you Sunday for our pre-show there, or am I finding a new Kevin? Because I'm not going to lie, on the other side of Tim, there was his producer for Inside BJJ, and he almost got the call up today.
Well, I literally don't have flights back yet. So I think so. I think you'll see me. But Wade was the sponsor, was like, let's get you out there. We'll worry about that shit later. So I think if Cody wins, I'm going to get to go home. I think if he loses, I live out here now.
Well, let's get you out of here. I'll be in touch with you. Kevin, we appreciate you. Thank you for making time for us. And good work as always, sir.
Hell yeah, man. Good to see you guys.
See you, buddy.
Peace. I can't believe we pulled that off.
That was awesome.
Doing things. Who would have ever thought? All right. So you responded to something. We got the inside knowledge on that, which means we can advance the board, and we are rounding third here. But there's a few things that I think are important to know. Oh, you know what? He would have stayed for the fight. That's what I had to fucking lead with. If I had told him I was like, the next segment's the fight, that motherfucker would have been like, oh, I was just kidding. I didn't have to go. So, Tim, here we go. This weekend is Subversive, and I have news for everybody watching this in case you missed it a little bit earlier. Not only I, myself, RAF ESPARZA, will be there, but my good friend here, Tim Freeman, will be there, and he will be one of your official commentators. So we wanted to start off this segment by asking, what are we most excited about for Subversive this weekend? Tim, I'll start with you. And mind you, we're going to preview a lot of stuff on Sunday before the show, as we are the official pre-show to Subversive. But just off the top of your head, what are you most excited about for this Sunday's big show, sir?
Well, I'm a couple things. One, obviously, I'm excited to work the event. I love jiu-jitsu. I love working with jiu-jitsu. I love being part of the show. So I know that's going to be a great time. I'm super duper looking forward to that aspect of it. Outside of that, I'm really looking forward to seeing more combat jiu-jitsu show up at these events. I think it has a really big part of what we're doing with grappling in terms of keeping it honest as a martial art and keeping the positional hierarchy in place, with the fact that you could get open palm striked pretty damn hard. And those palm strikes have really developed over the years. We've seen it from the very first instances of combat jiu-jitsu to now. people have really adapted, and they have some pretty cool stuff they're doing. It's a very, very exciting format to watch. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that live and being part of that. And I think it's a cool thing that Subversive is showcasing that. So, outside of that, I'm looking forward to working with you again, man. It's going to be great. Get to be back in sunny San Diego, get out of the South for a couple days, sneak out, sneak right back again. So it's fun, dude.
I'm glad to see it, and it'll be fun to join forces, form the Voltron, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But, the thing that I am most excited about is this one is going to be free 99, meaning if you guys wanted to see this one, it's not a man, that would be cool to see. This is you just go to the Subversive official page. It will be broadcasting live and on demand for you guys there. So that makes me super excited. And yes, as I mentioned, I'll be behind the scenes doing some stuff, pulling some hair out, and hopefully not punching other people, because that is always a concern when I'm behind the scenes. But very excited, and Tim is
going
to
do a great job, dude.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You don't talk enough about the awesome job that you do, but I can talk about it. Like, Ref, you're fucking producing the show. It's awesome. That's a big deal, and you don't toot your own horn enough. So I'm going to toot it for you. Nice. You're going to kill it. I can't wait. And nice. No, for real though, I learn a lot from watching you over the years. I've seen you from a distance, but working very closely with you since we started this, I've learned a lot just from watching your approach and how you plan and how you handle and how you do things. It's pretty impressive.
Thank you, sir. It is very much appreciated, but I believe the next segment after this one will prove that you don't or shouldn't talk me up too much, because I do think when you're like, I don't talk you up enough, and I was like, you know what? I think we learned very quickly. Maybe that's not the best of ideas, but let's go ahead and give people a preview of what they really wanted to see here today, which is always the marquee, the main event, if you would, the main fight that took place this week. And Tim, if you can give us some background context about what we're about to see here.
Your guess is as good as mine on this one, man. This is basically a dude who, I don't know if this guy just got back from a Cuban vacation based on how he's dressed. He's like getting into a street altercation with two other gentlemen. He's got some interesting handsy movements and techniques that he does. He paces around a lot. The other two guys show pretty tremendous restraint in dealing with him. But it was just a very fascinating altercation and how it went down. Kind of like fighting without fighting, I guess. Maybe this is some ultra Bruce Lee's and stuff, but I thought you might like
let's cut to it, and I'll have you narrate it, sir.
All right, let's go. So at first it looks like these guys are trying to help him, but then I realized they're trying to get him to go. And then he's like, no. Look at the punches. Then he gets in some grappling, and then he gets in a nice little slap. Just a ladylike slap. And now he's puffs the chest. He basically goes through all forms of posturing, masculine and feminine, in about 30 seconds, man. And he's worked up now. So these guys are trying to calm him down. He's doing a lot of head movement. He's turning his body away, which tells you that he's pretty excited. He gets in the car. Firefighter dude leans up next to him. You could tell this is not his first street altercation. He don't even care about the cars driving behind him. There, he's laughing with his buddy. Look at this. At some point, the dude in the white car gets back out of his car. Let's see. It's coming. Where does this happen at? Oh, I guess it's not. Yeah. Oh, there it is. I don't know what this is.
Oh, he's not happy that this is being filmed, apparently.
So it's Jeremy Renner.
Well, what is Jeremy Renner trying to tell us?
He's trying to tell us where he got that cool shirt at.
Oh my God. Okay.
Tim, dude.
So let me do a solid here. Let me walk you through my interpretation of what I saw in this fight.
I need help, man. You got to throw me a lifeline.
It's not even help. It's just these people need help. And here's why. First and foremost, if you're going to get into an altercation, have a clear plan for what you want from that car door. It makes no help to open it and then very quickly shut it. And then you throw the person into that. Now that person seems like he's boxed in, but now he's hitting all the punches like you would with a Rock'em Sock'em robot. And then, is that a slap, sir? Excuse me. What is this that's happening here? This dude is clawing at that other gentleman whose sunglasses peer down. And he's looking like, did this dude just Catwoman strike me with this? They continue to go on. This dude says, you want something? You want a piece of it? And now uses his stomach, his belly fat, to intimidate the other human being who probably was taking time off of his construction gig to make this fight happen. And that little fist pump right there is also just a very telling moment. Now, this dude, this is where you know things get serious. When you start pointing and Glasses over here is letting you know, hey, man, this isn't cool. I'm going to point this out to you. This is a trunk. Look at that. You got a trunk here, sir. I hope you know it's very spacious. You could fit a lot more in there if you knew what to do with it. Meanwhile, trunk. Dude gets back into his car, and he's still not done lecturing him. But here's where I like, this is a power move. He is taunting this man. That is the posture you get when you have roasted one of your friends and you show up right next to his car door and you go, how'd you like that, man? I know that one hurt. You're going to dream about that joke tonight. So when he does that, I think, Tim, this is too intense. And yet it's not even the end of the road here. I would love to say the people driving and back have zero problems driving by this.
They do not even slow down a little bit.
Their way to work, and they can give a shit if anybody gets run over. And this dude just in the middle of the street, not a problem, not a care in the world, makes his way safely to his car, while this dude who has the prototype for the bat cycle has time to go ahead and, I guess, get a gift? Like, what happened there, Tim? What was that guy
I think
doing?
he took a picture. I think he was taking a picture.
Oh, so he took a picture? It looks like he's wrapping a bow, like he's a parent who's getting his daughter ready for a recital. Like, okay, honey, here it is. Okay, now you go have a nice little ride on your Tyco truck. Now, here's what I want to say.
Does this guy work for the post office? He's got like a mailman outfit on.
I want to point this out. You call him Jeremy Renner. I call him Jeremy Runner. I want to point this out. This is important. Never accost the person filming it. They are doing their due diligence to make sure this is for all of us, sir. So if you have an issue with it, you got an issue with me, sir. And I will tell you this right now. You can pull up right next to me. I have no problem roasting you to your face. But if you show up and you accost the good people filming this, too far. Too far, sir. Take it down a notch if you would, please.
Yeah, I think that's a hot take.
I
think my guy had Crocs on also, or some kind of rubberized footwear. I don't know, man.
All right, last but not least, we get to the gallery. And Tim, maybe you should set up what exactly happened here.
Well, speaking of setup, I think that's the proper way to put it. One person on this show that's not named Tim was like, hey, guys, I have a great idea. One of y'all should go post a link to this because it's really informative and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go do it. Why not? So I went to Reddit and I posted a link that was the number segment from our last show. And it actually has some very, very highly curated information that's hard to get. In fact, I don't think anybody else has it. I think you're the one that got it and you put that segment together. And so we shared it as a way to share because we like what we're doing. And by the way, we're totally doing it for free. So we put it out there and I should have known better. You know, I trusted Reddit like you trust a bad, toxic girlfriend. And didn't Didn't even get to have a good time with him either. Just burned me right out of the gate, man. So
I'm sorry, Tim. I realized where I was asking you to post it because I just thought of it like this. I said, we do work that we're proud of here on the show. Maybe other people might enjoy this too. On Reddit? And that's where I was wrong. Because the assumption is, maybe these people would like a discourse on something that I find fascinating. And we'll see if maybe we can join together. And even worse, I put up the numbers segment the week before and people liked that. And I thought, well, maybe they'll like the new updated version because I know if I reported one thing and I found new information, you should share that information. And I thought that's what we were doing here. The internet was very quick to remind us they have very fast ways of turning anything into shit salad. Now, I should point this out. Before I start this segment, there was somebody in there that was telling us that what we got was feedback. And I went back and I did my earnestness to try to ascertain what we could learn from any of these comments. And I have to tell you, the education level, very low. The trash talking level, lower than that. But the absurd angriness that exists for something that is free, priceless. Let's take a look at what some of these people were saying. And it should be just to me, but instead it was really more directed at Tim. So the first comment we have here is from Pure Ground Control, and it says, mystery person doesn't have to keep giving up millions. And this is a response. This is a good one. It's basically saying like, hey, these ratings were good. Maybe it means that they don't have to rely on somebody else to make it happen. And it says, I believe Craig said that they already have broke even in an interview. Maybe it was Nicky Rod, that they will just reinvest into next year's and make even more profit because the sponsors will pay more. So I think he's quoting Nicky Rod, who was on the Civil Man podcast, and seemed to allude the fact that they made back their money from Craig Jones Invitational #1. That would be really, really cool if that was the case. We don't know that, but I think later in the post they said, hey, even Craig is saying like, I don't know, man. I don't even know the numbers yet. How is he supposed to know that? So I don't know if Craig said it. I don't know any of those things. But I can tell you this. It's probably a little early to figure out where the money is or isn't in this sport, except if you are Durable Leaf. Who says, I'm not convinced viewership to be great for future events since the novelty will have worn off. And it's not like they can hype this thing up as well year after year. The fact is, you show most people a competitive BJJ match and they have no interest. Do you have any data on similar things that were wildly popular for their first event and then how they did for later events? So really what you're asking me for in this question is, do you have data that shows something else failed? Which I don't know is like my main MO. Like, it's not necessarily what I'm bringing into the table here, which is actually, yes, there's some people who just had their dreams crushed and this went to shit salad real quick. And womp womp. In this particular case, if the constructive criticism is, sure, maybe it might be hard to replicate those things. In my findings, I said, I think it's probably going to be 25% less of a tune-in factor for the next CJI unless they get distribution from a major network, which I think they're trying to do. So it does go back to my sort of self-defeatist nature that I was saying maybe we shouldn't have. Like, let's acknowledge it was a very good first event and try to build upon it, as opposed to being like, I don't know, I don't think this thing's going to work.
Yeah, and that jackass on the thread goes, can you give me another segment on some more data that I want while I complain about the one you just gave me? Go off, segment boy. Create a segment for me. 13 minutes or more, please. It's like...
It's just very funny because I did my best to make the data as concise as possible, but it does come with caveats. Like, you do want to make sure people understand exactly what you're presenting. So when you get some people who maybe are a little bit more succinct and to the point, this one is oddly hilarious to me as well. And it says, I believe some of the numbers they're putting up, but I disagree with the conclusions. Mark Z, meaning who he believes is the anonymous sponsor, never going to recoup a profit off of tournaments like that, but I hope he keeps trying. You know, I think the weird part is when you say you disagree with some numbers, it tells me that as you're watching it, you looked at the analysis and go, I don't think that number's true.
Yeah, like you have a number in mind. That's not the number I had in mind. Yeah.
Nah, that one's okay. That one looks fake. Like, to me, I'm like, bro, I believe you, I get it. But if you look at the raw data, it is at least that many people tuned in, which is very, very impressive.
Another point that keeps getting missed, and I think Craig did this on purpose to avoid this, was it profitable, is the fact that the proceeds are going to a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
There's no profitability. There's no investor who invested the money and they're looking to recoup the expenses. The investment was a donation, more or less. It wasn't an investment. There's nothing to recoup. And it's, is that a long-term plan? I don't know, but it worked for the first time.
And, I mean, the fact that it worked the first time is pretty spectacular in itself. Like, that in itself is an achievement, if you would. But, Tim, I didn't try to get all the ones where you were getting into fights with people. But I want to tell you that the one where you definitely responded to somebody, it did get a lot of negative votes.
Yeah,
but
it did.
I feel like it's one that maybe you didn't look at because it currently stands at negative 69 downvotes.
Wow.
I'm kind of cool with that. Like, if you're going to get any number, negative 69 is the way to go.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's I just was so put off by these bungholes, man. And I responded a little bit snarky, but I could be a lot worse than that. They should have seen the things I deleted before I clicked the post button. And I just realized this is a lost cause. Posting on Reddit is basically a humanitarian effort. And you just have to view it like that. You're like, I can't save them all. I might get to one.
Let me ask you this. Is there a humanitarian effort in this, which says, someone please give me the numbers. I'm not watching this video on principle. 13 minutes, LOL. Okay. This made me chuckle a little bit because at the very least, this person is saying he's very dumb. Because they're just saying, listen, dude, I don't have the wherewithal to watch 13 minutes. What I didn't know was that people were going to enlist the help of ChatGPT to help them on this one. And so they had that chatbot, that AI, summarize my whole thing and then tell them the information that I told them. And I was like, okay, sure. I mean, as long as they get the information, that's great. It's not as processed or as nuanced, but hey, do what you need to do. But I think that these people think that it's like, that's going to hurt him. I'll show him making this 13-minute segment. And I go, 13 minutes isn't even a full round in the big boy division.
This guy puts 13 minutes LOL as if you've produced your J.R. Tolkien and you have 27 hours of some made up language in 13 volumes somewhere. It's 13 minutes LOL on you, clown. It's like, dude, what are you talking about?
But it's like, dude, you probably spent all 9 hours watching that show. You can give this 13 minutes.
Yeah.
And this is something that's passable that you can watch in the background. So I want to get to the comment that probably split me up the most, because all of these kind of skirt around a certain kind of asshole niche. This one gets straight to it and says, shut up and put the numbers up. Now, this is where I want to talk to you, the internet. When you say, shut up and put the numbers up, what you may not know is that I actually put a PDF that is free and accessible to anybody who wanted to look at the numbers. You just had to make it to minute 10 in the video. And if you can't do that, why do you deserve something free from me? Like, what did you do that merits that? Because at the very least, I took the time to at least say, like, hey, I think this might be fun, might be interesting. here you go. It's just a really fun practice to just come on and find a way to be an asshole, and then find a community of people that are like, you know what? Yeah, fuck him. Fuck that guy for giving us something for free. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, that is definitely something. But here's the last kind of same thing here. It's in the same vein of it. And I think it gets to the core of what they were trying to refer to as feedback, Tim. Because after this comment, I'll give it further context. But it says, I could read a summary of the numbers in 30 seconds. You sure about that? You couldn't even write this comment in 30 seconds, bro. But it says, but you make me want to watch, watch a 13-minute talking head to get it. I didn't make you do shit, dude. We put it out on the internet. We said, maybe you might like this. And this dude thought that we put him at gunpoint and said, you better fucking watch this. You better love every second. I was like, hey man, if you like it, this is for you. If not, all good. In case it means anything, I watched every minute in action of CJI and skipped every walkout, shot of the building, intro, after-match interview, or cut to the talking heads, and never even thought about watching the pre and post shows. Now, see, this is where it gets specific to us. Because I made the point, I was like, hey, we'd host the pre and post show. And yes, we were in talks with them. Would have been cool. Hopefully for the next time. If it doesn't happen, not the worst. So essentially trying to say, like, nobody cares about that. It says, it's the grappling I want, not the silly show stuff. And my YouTube view counts for 2 people in the room. Well, cool. Thank you for that. So I think it starts off with, I don't want to watch 13 minutes. Sure. Then gets into, yeah, well, you know what? Nobody's going to want to watch that show anyway. And I think to myself, I'm like, hey, man, other sports have pre and post shows that do good ratings. And it's a cheaper way to extend that advertising rate or make more money for your show because people are still watching and it commands a high viewer count in the wanted demos. And this dude is basically trying to just be a dick about it in relation to us. So underneath that was where somebody's like, hey man, we're giving you feedback. And I go, this is not pleasant. Like constructive criticism. This is just shit posting.
Douchiness.
And in disguise of, well, we're giving you feedback. So it is a kind of feedback. I can say that. But is it one that's really worth your time or trying to better the product? So I always think of it like this. We have a good sense of humor about ourselves. We don't hopefully take ourselves too seriously. And I look at this stuff wanting to laugh. And there was at least one comment that did evoke a little bit of a chuckle out of me. And if every one of these comments could be like this, I think we'd be in a better place. And it said, this is all great, but what was the average penis size buy bracket?
That's what Reddit really wants to know.
I have to tell you, as somebody who does a lot of work with numbers and kind of likes to look at the charts, I'm not doing that one. But I definitely laughed at that and said, like, yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's nice to take the piss out of us. But I would tell you guys, we are going to get bigger as a sport. This is only going to get worse. You see the trolls that happen in MMA. Just, do we want to be those douchebags? Because for us, we have fun. We enjoy what we do here. We do good work. I did spend time on it, and I really did care about it. But you know what's been really refreshing? I've gotten some very nice DMs and some notes from people who have been very kind and said, we really like this analysis. Maybe even some nice words from the people behind the scenes. Just saying. Okay. I think what's really weird about this element is that as you do these things and you take pleasure and you enjoy what you do, you always hope for a receptive audience. But what's been really nice is the next wave of people who have come in and watched that content have been a lot more upvotes and a lot more subscribers. And I got to tell you, it always seems like the first wave of people are kind of the mean ones and the assholes. But the next wave tends to be pretty nice and say like, hey, I kind of like this. And I will tell you this, because I look at numbers, I did notice the average length watched of that video started to crawl up from the normals.
Nice.
So when you say things like nobody would be interested in this, it does look like we are starting to grow our audience. And that's what we're really trying to do. So we hope you like those segments, but we will tell you if it is really out of pocket and shitty, we will bring it on the air. And if you're trying to do this to see if we'll pull it on the air, it may not always work that way, but it's our hope to be a fun kind of show. Not necessarily an asshole-ish kind of show, but if you meet us on the wrong day, we can be those assholes and way worse than you guys. So just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I got to run, buddy. I'm going to have to jump off.
Go do your thing. Tell the people where they can find you, and I will close this up for us, sir.
Inside BJJ, all your favorite social media platforms, InsideBJJ.com, Patreon.com/InsideBJJ. Check me out at Subversive. I can't wait to see you this weekend, Raf. It's going to be a great time, dude.
Sounds good, brother. Text me tomorrow when you're about to head on out, and we'll coordinate all of our stuff, dude.
Yes, sir. I'll see you tomorrow, bud.
See you tomorrow, man.
Later. Bye.
All right, that's going to do it for Tim. Let's wrap this up for the rest of you guys and just say the following. Thank you so much for watching along with us here tonight. It has been a fantastic day. We appreciate you guys. As a reminder, you will see both myself and Tim at Subversive. We will be the official pre-show, so look out for that here on this page, as well as the Subversive official at approximately 2 p.m. on Sunday, and that will be promptly followed by Subversive number 11. So it's going to be really fun, and it's been a while since we've been together, but it is going to be on the YouTube of that page for free. You do not have to pay for this one. We want you guys to look at it. We want you to see some awesome grapplers, and we're very excited about the show that we are going to present for you guys. So get excited about that. And last couple of reminders here, you guys, before we start calling it a night. Like, comment, subscribe. We got haters now. That's how you know we're making it. And if you got haters, you need the lovers. You need the appreciators to give us those likes, those comments, those subscribes. Because I got to tell you this, the beautiful part about being a numbers guy is when you guys showed up and those people are trying to hate on it, it's a 9-to-1 ratio that we're beating them on. So for every one hater, currently, 9 appreciators. And I feel like as those numbers go up, it's going to continue to go on and on. But we love you guys for all of your support, all of your love. It does mean a lot to us. So look out for that. And ladies and gents, I think that is going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour, here at the Bullpen, here at Inside BJJ. We got much love and respect. We'll see you in a couple days. And if we don't see you on Sunday for that pre-show, then hey, come back and join us next week when we recap what took place at Subversive Jiu-Jitsu. On behalf of the crew, it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats. Welcome back to another installment of the Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of Gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raf, are these all Gold BJJ? All of these cards are Gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with you. You can throw it in the wash. Raf, these are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
well, they're really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait. No, this
do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
They were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. Anyway, go visit our friends at goldbjj.com.
10,000 hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in Salt Electrolytes. Salt salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Elevate your BJJ game with inverted gear, where pandas and performance meet. Whether you train in a gi or prefer no gi, we have something for you. Our gear is built to last and designed to perform no flashy extras, just high-quality craftsmanship and minimal design. Plus, pandas. Don't miss our back-to-school sale going on now. Visit www.invertijar.com and roll with confidence panda style.